What is up, Thursday crew? Coming at you. Special guest tonight, Brayton Laster, will be joining us in a few minutes. We're very excited to have him and very excited to have you watching the stream tonight. If you have any questions for Brayton, anything like that, make sure to leave them in the comments and he'll answer them along the way. But excited to talk to him. Of course, we have Adam Lucas. We got Ben with us. Other crew members might join us tonight. Not sure yet, but thankful for you both being here. How are you guys doing? How's your days been?
It's been good. I didn't do too much. Was interviewed for a podcast earlier today, and then went to therapy. So it's a solid Thursday.
Therapy.
So
we love it. Adam, how you doing? Rocking the hat? Rocking the merch?
Rock the merch. Only 7 more hours left of my workday, and then it is the weekend.
Let's go. Let's go. Awesome. We love those weekends. And then, of course, anyone in the chat, how are you doing? I want to do like a check-in with you all. We'll bring in Rob too. Rob is here. Rob got
What's up, guys? How's it hanging?
Oh, Gavin's in the chat. Thank you. We love you.
Yes, PR duties.
Yeah, PR duties. We love it though. Shout out to all the PR folks out there. We salute you. You do one heck of a job, you guys. So, Two Penny, what is up? Tire chatters. Not sure why I got y'all's notifications. But hey, I'm here. What's up? Thanks for being here. Adam, how are you? Another Adam.
Hi, Adam.
All right.
I'm Adam. Nice to meet you.
We got the Adams here tonight. Adams are representing.
Oh, sure. He's North Carolina Adam. I'm South Carolina Adam.
There we go.
And yes, it did feel like spring today. It hit 80 degrees for me.
It felt like
here
out today.
I cleaned snow off my car.
No.
Yeah, my friend in Buffalo had ice.
I cleaned snow off my car in shorts.
We got Toby Christie here. What
Tobias,
is up, Toby?
Christopher. Oh,
our lead.
The man.
The myth. The legend. What is up, Toby? All right, tonight on the docket again, Brayton Laster is going to be here. If you have any questions for him, leave them in the comments below. But we're going to talk about Daytona, kind of give our final thoughts or wrap up about it, kind of the online discourse. We're also going to preview Auto Club. Looks like the weather for that race is going to be special, should I say. So we'll talk about that, kind of give our previews, track facts, and driver stats as always. And we're not going to make our picks yet. For the ATYL crew, our race picks that we all turn in are due Friday nights. But we'll kind of give a little preview as to who we might be thinking about. So yeah. So there we go. Well, I believe Brayton is here. We will be bringing Brayton in. All right. Brayton.
Hello.
Up.
Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3.
We got you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Got him.
Let's go.
Got him.
We are very excited to have you. How are you doing? You recovered from Daytona?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty solid. The weather's the biggest change I'm having to go through. It's like 20, 30 degrees back home in the Midwest. So I got too comfortable with the 60 and 70 degrees weather down there.
Oh yeah. No, I desperately wish we had that. Ohio up here, it's cold all the time. It's ridiculous. I hate it. But yeah, let's get into it. So I need to ask this right away because you have the helmet right behind you. We know you love pizza. My question for you, just to start it off, is like, do you like to have like wings with your pizza? Like, do you have like salad with your pizza? Like, do you like to dip your pizza in like ranch or something like that?
No, I'm pretty plain Jane. I'm like sauce, cheese, pepperoni, and that's it. I mean, nothing special. If I'm eating wings over here for my pizza, then the pizza's not good. You know, if I have to have something else with the pizza, you know, it's not a good pizza.
Facts.
So
You ever do Hawaiian?
Respect.
Hawaiian?
We love it. Love it. Let's see. Another thing I wanted to talk about too, kind of like the background of your career. So racing, I've seen like whether it be in the Cars movies or even just videos of, but like the figure 8 racing. I know your dad did it. You've done some of it. What is that like? Like, what mentality do you have to have going into that? Because that looks dangerous.
You can think of it as like super speedway racing, but a lot more crazier. You know you're going to wreck. You know you're going to be in an accident at some point. It's just a matter of minimizing the damage and how well can you recover. And that's kind of something I feel like has helped me transition to the ARCA Menard series and the whole super speedway racing deal. Is with figure 8 stuff, you have to have like reflexes like that. And before the race, we were talking, on the starting grid there. I'm like, these guys have no figure eight experience compared to me. I'm like, we're going to fly through the field here. So it's definitely a unique experience, especially at the level that we do it here in Indianapolis. We have a lot of big shows. We have they're full-blown outlaw late models. I've done figure eights in school buses. So, I mean, I've done a lot of figure eight stuff, and I feel like it's kind of helped me develop my driving skills more advanced and more differently than some other drivers, I guess, at my level.
Incredible. So like you've done figure eight racing, but you do all kinds, right? Like we tweet, I think we got in a conversation last year, like you run dirt late models as well. So are you just a guy that like, if you can get behind a steering wheel, you're going to do your best to try and drive the hell out of it?
If it's got 3 wheels and half a steering wheel, I'll drive. If it has pedals, I mean, I'll drive it. Like I said, I've driven a school bus. I've driven front wheel drives. I took my daily driver and made a front wheel drive race car for fun to go take out. I drive, dirt late models. I drive, of course, the ARCA stuff. I ran some truck stuff last year. But like I said, if I can drive it, I'll race it.
Did you have to go through any sort of like training to drive the bus, or they just pop you in there?
Well, this is going to sound bad. I wanted to be the first one out on track so that way I could start first. And they had like an air brake. I had no idea what an air brake was. It was this giant lever that says disengage to drive. I didn't read it, obviously. And I'm sitting here like I haven't driven. I'm hitting the gas. We're not going. I'm having to call my mom and my dad. I'm like, Dad, it's in drive. It's not going. He's like, are you on the brake? I'm like, I'm not on the brake. He's like, you have the air brakes engaged. I'm like, I don't know what an air brake is, Dad. And but that was the only training I had to go through. But we almost won the race. That's sad.
The public school system wasn't calling you, offering a job.
No.
But you were close to winning the race. That's good.
Yeah.
Honestly, my goodness.
We went 4 wide on a flat 5th mile figure eight in school buses, so it was pretty impressive.
Oh my gosh!
I am not that brave. Cannot do it.
Oh my goodness.
This is like my favorite part about you, Brayton, because like I think we follow each other on Instagram as well too. But like some of the like stories that you come up with and some of the things that you post on social media are just like the most like I want to say it was over the off season, like you spent like half the off season like dumping a motor into a car or something like that, and it was just this insane like story about how it all came together. And like that's just like what you do is like you just wake up every day and it's like, what's today's adventure of we're gonna slam a motor in a car or we're gonna do this or that. So
it feels like one of
it
feels like one of those things where you're just gonna come up on here and be like, yeah, I bought John F. Kennedy's car last week.
I built a lot of my like own motors for our dirt cars. Me and some of the guys will sit there and like put junkyard LS motors together.
Yeah.
Because my dad has a very small junkyard. We buy only a couple cars a day, but we'll get a good truck in with 200, 300,000 miles. We'll pull the motor out of that bad boy. We'll pull a cam in it to do some head work, and we'll get an easy 650, 750 horsepower and go dirt racing with it.
I love that because that's the most like that's the most roadkill thing ever. Like I love that for you guys. So I'm curious because I've talked with Willie a little bit. I did an interview with him back over in the fall. How did the deal with them come together? Like how were you able, because it started, you've only ran 2 years at Daytona with them, right? Mm-hmm. So like how did that deal come together?
This is you're talking about how crazy my life is. This is a great example of that. So last December, December 2021, my dad comes in. I'm home from college break. I'm working, and my dad comes in my door and he's like, "Hey, kiddo, get up! Time to get to work." And he goes, "Hey, son, what do you think about running the ARCA Daytona test?" And this is, like I said, December 22nd, December 23rd.
So you're like 2 weeks, before testing.
Yeah, because ARCA goes down the second or third week every January, and they run 2 days of testing at Daytona. And that's how to get approval, to get experience, to get seat time. And and I know nobody. My dad knows nobody. I mean, we have no idea who's even in the garage. I mean, no idea, no contacts, nothing. And I knew of the Mullins through their TikTok, which they're known for their TikTok. They post a lot of stuff on TikTok. They had no idea who I was. I knew who they were. They had no idea who I was. I followed them. They don't follow me. I like their stuff. They don't like my stuff. So I'm a total stranger. And my dad goes, I'm like, well, we got the Mullins people. They're from Virginia, a very, very small team. He goes, all right, well, see what they can figure out, son. I'm like, I got you, Dad. And I shot him an email, shot Big Willie an email. I'm like, hey, Big Willie, I'm this, redneck dirt guy from Greenwood, Indiana that has no business being on Daytona. Can I come test your car? And I get a long email back from Dyna, and they're like, sure. And we went down there, and it was awesome. Like I said, we put this deal together in like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago down there and test. And I think last year we were 15th out of like 57 drivers testing. And it was a thrill of a lifetime. Like I said, I've driven school buses, I've driven front wheel drives, I've driven street stocks, I've driven everything. And that was the thrill of my life, getting one to drive through the tunnel, to go into the infield. That's just such a monumental moment. And then going around the track at speed. And then we got I got to be in the draft. I'm like, this is just insane. And I think they had 6 or 7 people testing with them. And this will actually come kind of play later in my career, because that's how I met Brad Perez, and we kind of got the whole Raymond Brothers Knoxville deal that way. Right. But after the test is over, we kind of go up to Dyna, and we're like, hey, thanks for having us down. It was a great time. And we kind of talked a little bit about the actual race and what it would take. And they gave us a number, and we're like, okay, we're going to see what we can do. So I sold a kidney on a black market. No, I'm kidding. But we dialed for dollars. We emailed people. We basically put together a Daytona ride in a matter of 3.5 weeks.
That's impressive.
And we got 13th. I feel like we had a good run at top 5 going. And we got unlucky there at the end of the race. And Daytona, you're like, all right, it's done. Easy. Never doing it again. I'm retired. Call it a career. Yeah. And then the Friday after Daytona, Donna calls us, and she's like, hey, you guys want to come to Talladega? And we're like, yeah. So we did Talladega. It didn't end up so well. Kind of mowed some grass a little bit, and that's a whole nother story. But yeah, like I said, it's a true Cinderella kind of now we're here story.
And talk to us about Daytona last week. I know something that they were talking about a lot was like how like the wind picked up like during the race day, like different from like practice qualifying. How was that to navigate like on the day of the race? Was it difficult?
It was definitely weird. I noticed it a lot more than last year, and especially with testing in January and practice and qualifying. It was a lot more noticeable in a pack, and that's something too, is nobody really practices in packs. And ARCA has group qualifying, which someone in our group kind of forgot how to shift. Not going to name names, and they popped the motor, and then the person behind them popped the motor, and then someone behind them spun out. So yeah, we had a great group. Ben was there. Ben was tweeting about it.
I was not there, but I was following along on ARCA.com, and I was keeping up to speed, so I know exactly who he's talking about. And this is awkward.
I know who knows too.
Our group was 7. I thought we had the best qualifying group in the field. I thought
you had a stout group. Like the group you had was a good lineup.
It was an awesome group. I was excited. I was talking to Dinah before qualifying. I'm like, do I get the pole banner? You guys keep the pole banner. Who keeps the pole banner here? That's how confident we were. And we went out there, and everyone just like crashed. And me, Big Willie, and Brad Smith are the only survivors.
Yeah.
And so we ended up, like I said, the group.
The real big three of our
Everyone else is working in groups. And these are random groups, too. You have 4 minutes. So it's not like I got to pick my partner. This is random. And me and Willie happen to be in the same group. And we qualified 20th and 21st, which is very good considering everyone else is working in groups of 4, 5, and 6. And it was just me and Big Willie. So it wasn't the ideal qualifying scenario we wanted, but a lot better than we thought we were going to get. And 2-3 laps go by, and we're just hauling on the outside. I think we're up to a couple spots, and right away I noticed the wind you were talking about. I'm like, this is crazy. The wind is insane. You can feel when people are excited. You can feel people pushing it. You can feel you can just suck up really good. It was just so much more intense than I'd been in the days past. I think I was used to, and it just seemed every line we went in, I'd go bottom, and bottom would stall. I'd go top, and the top would stall out. It's just every line I went just kind of faded, and definitely wasn't a race we were rooting for, but it was a good learning curve, I'd say. Like I said, we got a lot of good experience in the wind, and something I can hopefully use later in my career.
Yeah, no, for sure. Talk about because that was so you ran last year's race and then this year's at Daytona. Talk about the differences, because this year was a full 40 car field showed up as compared to last year, which was not a full field. Talk about just because I watched the race I wasn't able to watch it live. I watched the tape back on it, and it looked very chaotic at times with that many cars on track. Because a lot of these ARCA guys, like yourself, in some ways, you have more short track experience. This is a new world. So just talk about what that was like. Yeah, school bus.
Yeah.
That's valuable. But just talk about like what that was like, just to share the track with all these guys at once.
So I believe there were 14 drivers making their super speedway debut, which is a lot. That's like 30-some% of the field.
Yeah.
And I kind of can't really. I don't want to say it can be categorized, but I don't have a whole lot more experience than those guys. Now I have more super speedway experience than them, but not a whole lot more. And so it was a pretty rookie-ish type field. And it was a matter of you couldn't really pick and choose who you wanted to work with when a third of the field is new here. You just kind of had to take what you're given and make the most of it. And it was kind of at times like I'm stuck with this person. I know this person sucks at drafting. I don't want to be behind them, but we're 3 wide in the middle of turn 3 and 4. I can't lift out now. And it was very apparent where the field is very good with like not causing massive wrecks, but did have someone that's kind of inexperienced, someone that was really experienced working with someone not so inexperienced, and you'd see a lot of single car spins, or someone's bumping the wrong way, someone get turned this way, someone get turned that way, someone get loose, or people clear themselves. A lot of the people clearing themselves, and a lot of stack ups. I don't know, like I said, I don't know how we didn't have a 25 car wreck because there were so many stack ups. And
You guys did well,
I'll
though.
say it. I don't know, at one point we were like 4 wide coming through 3 and 4, and the outside stacking up. I got 2 wheels on the apron. I'm just dealing down here. I'm like, well, we're about to eat concrete here, and somehow we made it through.
I mean, Jankowiak hung it out like all the way like 90 degrees to the track, like drifting up 4. So like it was a wild race.
Like we got 15 laps to go. I'm hanging out here. Shades of Dale Earnhardt, pretty much.
I mean, black night shirt on. So
yeah, I got my Dale
there
shirt
it
on.
is.
So.
Yeah.
I love that.
Do it for Dale.
We do have a question in the comments too. Adam in the comments said, Brayton, what was it like to race against Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle?
Yeah, so I know at one point I saw Frankie, and I'm like, I'm putting him 3 wide middle. And there's a picture on Twitter that Mark Billis got, and it's me, Tony, and Frankie. And I tried to put him 3 wide middle, but he went bottom. But it's still a killer picture that I was able to put him 3 wide. And actually, he did go 3 wide middle, but it was right behind me. And it was definitely really cool. I'm not a big TV person, but obviously, having him come to sport is huge for the sport. And I think he had a lot to do with the viewership being up over 50,000 viewers. So it was definitely cool. And I know at one point late in the race, my spotter's talking to the car. She's like, they're going to have the 30 car restarting behind you. I'm like, you mean Malcolm in the middle is going to be pushing me 3 wide? All right, let's go, brother. So it was definitely pretty cool. He did a lot, I feel like, for the sport and for viewership. I'm kind of excited to see where his career, because he's had a wacky career up to this point. I'm kind of excited to see where he goes with it.
Nice. So I want to change gears and talk a little bit about hopefully your 2023 plans. You're running Dega, right?
Yes, that's in the plans for now. Obviously, motorsports and things can change like that.
Yeah.
So we are plans to go to Dega and hopefully do some later races down throughout the season.
Okay.
And also kind of venture in the world of asphalt super late model racing. I do a lot of the dirt super late model stuff, but we're gonna be running a lot of hopefully asphalt super stuff or asphalt sportsman and crate stuff throughout the Midwest. But I know we will be running in the Rattler down at South Alabama Speedway, which is a big race. Stephen Nash, Corey Heim, Daniel Guy,
big
a
names.
lot of bigger guys have raced in it. So we're going to go down there, hope we get some experience, and just kind of see what kind of run we can put together down there. And like I said, we're not exactly sure what's in the cards. That's why I'm kind of known for just popping out on Twitter. Hey, we're going to go race here this weekend. See you there. So we might announce like a 15 race deal, in 3 days, or who knows. So my career is always kind of crazy with how things flow like that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know you're like. So for context, I think most people in the ATYL group know this, but for everyone at home too, it's like I've met Brayton before in person. So you were helping. It was Alex Club, right, in the 03.
That's a crazy story. Yeah.
Which you're gonna have to tell that here in a minute too. But so I went and covered Salem last year. Salem Arco is the next last race of the season. And I'm walking around doing just photography for practice. It's like a 25-minute practice session. I'm hanging out, I'm vibing, got my earbuds in, listening to the hip hop. And I walk over to like turn 3 and 4 to get some shots. And I look over and I see this 6 foot tall dude standing on a concrete wall. And I'm like, this is a big mother. You know what? I can't swear on here. And then I look over and he's wearing this like trucker hat that's pizza, and I was like, wait a minute, I think I know this guy. And like you looked at me and I looked at you, and we were kind of like, we made eye contact awkwardly. We did like the head nod, and that was it. We didn't say anything else the rest of the time.
Well, I saw you were coming down there. I'm like, oh, that's cool, Ben. You and all those guys, or like Ben's getting like Toby, Christy, ATYL is gonna be down there because I'd known you from seeing you on social media.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I see him, I gotta say hi. Just gotta say hi. And we were down there just kind of helping out Alex Club. I'm on the wall, like looking at times, and I like you said, I turned around. I forget where it's at, but I know what pizza. I wore it down at Daytona all the time. I know what hat you're talking about. Killer hat. And I'm like, oh, that's Ben. And then I turned back around to go because Alex had come through the corner, and I turned back around and we're gone. Yeah. I had no idea where you went. I'm like, oh, well, guess I'm not meeting you. And,
it's 25 minutes. I didn't get photos.
I made my pit crew debut that week.
Okay.
Oh.
So, yeah, I was just in the club pit box chilling about 10 minutes before the race. And, they had a couple of kids sitting there trying to figure out who's doing what. And the two kids look at each other like, where's your fire suit? And the guy's like, I don't know. You were supposed to bring it. And the guy's like, where's your fire suit? You were supposed to bring it. And so these two guys are sitting there, and club has one spare fire suit for these two guys, and I always take my racing stuff to the track because I never know what trouble I'm gonna find myself in. And so I'm like, hey, I have all my stuff out in the car if you need it. And I was just offering my fire suit to one of these kids to use because we were about the same build. And I forget her name, but there's this chick that runs like the club pit crew. And I want to say Ashley. Ashley's her name. And she looks at me. She goes, "You want to go over the wall?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." And so I went out, and Salem was like, kind of like, it's like you're pitted in the infield, obviously, but there's no tunnel. Once that race begins, you're stuck in that infield. So I'm like running out of the track and like through the parking lot, getting my fire suit helmet. And there's a killer picture of me. Alex had a radio issue that race. And I'm climbing through the window on the starting grid. My feet are like pointed straight up in the air with my pizza helmet and everything on.
That was you. I wondered who that was because I remember looking at. I was in the press box announcer's booth, and I was looking over, and I was live tweeting, and I was like, seems to be an issue on the 03, and I just see like feet dangling out, and I was like, okay.
And yeah, but that was pretty cool because I actually got to take a tire and carry. And Michael Klein, who we've had on the show before, he was actually the impact guy. So I was a tire carrier. I was a rear tire carrier, and Michael was the tire changer. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's incredible. Awesome. I love that for you.
I wish I had a GoPro on, but it was pretty neat.
Just running through the parking
lot. Next time, bring a GoPro.
No, yeah.
Get those action shots.
Plan ahead.
And then Brayton, we're big collectors of like die cast here. Adam, did you want to ask him about?
Yeah. I've been collecting die cast since I was the wee age of 5, and I gotta know. It seems that everybody we have on our show, they have a collection or they collect some type of racing memorabilia. We love diecast, either 164 or 124, but we want to know, what is your favorite NASCAR diecast?
Oh, he's going.
He's standing up. Look at the back of the shirt. Look at the drip. Look at the drip.
Money drip.
Yeah, Flex Force.
We love it.
I'm a little biased here.
It's too hot. It's too hot.
I'm a little
I like Gavin's. I just want to point out Gavin Newton in chat. It's like he has like 3 and then he's disappointed.
I only have like 3 or 4 die casts. I've never been big in die cast, but all my die casts, it's upside down. For the most part,
he's got it.
It's upside down. But I had a friend of mine make my Arkansas.
Nice. That's awesome.
And I have one of my dirt late model. I ran in 2020, I believe. Yeah, because I hit the wall and it scrapes on the car. And I also have a custom one being made of my NAS truck that I ran at Knoxville. That gives
nice.
Oh, that's so cool.
I've never really been huge into collecting die casts. Now, I will say the one die cast I do have that's not mine. Here, I'll grab it if I can find it.
He's showing off the shirt again. He's just showing off.
I know. It's just for the shirt.
Diecast are the gateway.
Gavin, I bet that's what he's going to get.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain.
So I have 2 of these. And this is still unboxed, by the way. This is the first time I'm
Ooh.
opening it.
Oh,
This is an honor.
Unboxing
Exclusive.
I was about to say
live.
we get a special
ATYL
unboxing
Team.
Haul video.
Is Brad Perez.
Yeah.
We love
Got
it.
Brad.
Bread,
And
let's go.
Funny story behind. Like I said, I have 2 of these. And this shows how inexperienced I am with ordering die cast. Is I placed a pre-order, put like my credit card information in, and my credit card got stolen, so I had to cancel that card. By the time it ships out, they go to charge the card's invalid, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll buy a second one, and so I went out and buy a second one. But no, that's not good enough. You got to pay for the first one. I'm like, no, I bought a second one. It's fine. They're like, no, you got to pay for the first one. And so I'm like, no, I bought a second one though to cover the first one. Like, nah, you got to pay for the first. I'm like, and now I'm the proud owner of 2 Brad Perez 124 Green Tech Energy Sonoma tracks.
Let's go.
Nice.
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 I will say to those who sell diecast, this is a wake up call. Make it easier to buy them, please.
I had no idea what I was doing. That's my first time ever buying a diecast.
Now, besides diecast, do you collect any other type of racing memorabilia?
Yes. So I typically like collecting door panels and like sheet metal off of cars from my home track. I'm not a big NASCAR sheet metal guy because that's expensive, but like especially if it's a race I'm in, I might go and like collecting stuff. Like I have a Zane Smith quarter panel from the Knoxville race after that I ran.
Oh, nice.
I have a lot of my own sheet metal. You can see behind me my door from Talladega.
That's the dream.
That Richie Garvey flew over.
Yeah. Never forget.
You can fly.
So,
Never
got
forget.
that. And actually, in the back corner over here, I don't know if we can. Oh, I can turn it here. We're just gonna do this. You can kind of see it. It's a back bumper and a wing. I have a wing above my bed.
Oh gosh.
That's a Formula
Wow.
4 wing, or USF 2000 wing from signed by Al Unser Jr. But in the back corner is a back bumper off my Talladega car.
Oh nice.
And in
Whoa.
our shop, we have like all kinds of door panels and. From either people that have wrecked me and they just throw the sheet metal away, I go and get it out of the trash and have them sign it like a month down the road because they forget who I am at that point. So mainly sheet metal is my big thing though, as far as like collecting stuff, and also pit bands. I have a box of like every pit band of every track I've been to in the past like 5 years, especially like all the NASCAR stuff and the credentials and stuff. That's pretty
Nice.
neat.
Oh, it's so cool.
So is open wheel racing pretty big in your life then too? Since I know you're from Indiana and obviously the 500 and stuff in IndyCar. So is that a pretty big part of your life as well, or?
So yeah, that's I'm gonna get shot for this. Yeah, I'm not a big IndyCar guy.
It's okay.
It's all
Being
good.
from Indiana, I've only been to IMS twice, once for qualifying and once for the Indy 500. This past year actually. So that was. Yes, Gavin does point out I do have a 2019 Ross Chastain JD Motorsports Bristol nose that I like or 2018, 2019. I don't know. It's like late 2010s though.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like the old red
Yeah.
SEM
Oh,
cars.
the
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
I've had it for like 3 years. No idea what it was. I
Dang.
became friends with Gavin, and Gavin came to our shop. Gavin came to our shop, and Gavin, I need help identifying this. And we sat there for like an hour, and we tracked it back to what race it was. But yeah, so IndyCar's never really been my thing, or open wheel racing. The figure 8 stuff is kind of like open wheel, but that's as far as open wheel stuff that I ran. Now we do kind of have a deal in place to run some sprint car stuff later this season, but that's just writing on the wall. So we're kind of working out as we go. My mom's not a big sprint car gal, so she's not. she goes, she doesn't mind me racing Daytona. Sprint cars is a big no. So we're going to have to kind of try to convince her to possibly let me go do that here later in the season. So
That's fair.
Gavin says that we should ask you about your iRacing Indy 500 win. Should we ask you about that?
yeah, we can. So as everyone knows, I'm big on iRacing. Ben and I bonded over 24 hours in Martinsville in the Moon Car race.
This man. So before we get into that story, so this man, we ran 24 hours for Travis Brown's charity race.
Oh my god.
There was a team of like 5 of us, and this man was kicking our butt for over half of it. He was ahead of us. He was a single car operation, single guy, single driver, like
24 hours straight.
This man's a hero.
I knew
This
it's
was at
bad.
Martinsville.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
be
did
honest.
over-
MX5 Miata is at Martinsville.
I did over 3,000 laps by myself. I knew it was
Oh
bad
my
because I
God.
broadcasted it. I looked at my stream. I saw sunlight in the background. I'm like, oh, it's morning. I looked over. It was like 3 in the afternoon. So
Oh.
I knew I was in trouble. I knew I was in trouble at that point.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
Wow.
so everyone knows I'm big on iRacing. I do a lot of stuff, charity stuff or just fun races here and there. And a couple years ago, this was before I was anybody, like before I'd done any ARCA stuff, I'm like, you know what? I got done mowing the grass. I'm gonna go race the iRacing Indy 500. No idea what I was doing. First time ever running the IndyCar. They bought it for this race. Didn't qualify because you have to qualify like the week of, and I didn't do that. And so I'm like, all right, we'll just see how it goes. And I started, I believe, 31st, 33 car field. And if you look behind me, here's a 5-foot tall trophy that I bought for myself after I won that race. So,
I love it.
That's fantastic.
yeah, I won it. Nobody else did. That's what we're going with.
I like how you buy yourself a trophy too. The commitment to that's insane.
It was like the 20-second split for people that knows how iRacing works and how splits work. It was a 20-second split Indy 500. So only 2 cars finished, and I was one of them.
I mean, I would buy myself a trophy too. I'm with you.
I think we should do that for our picks this year.
Can we?
Whoever wins has to buy them
a trophy.
to buy
Done.
buys
Might go,
themselves a trophy.
Well, Brayton, I want to get to 2 questions that we had in the comments for you. One was, it says, Brayton from High Octane Cards. What's a bigger pucker up moment? Unexpected bump draft from behind or going opposite through the crossover with Doodle?
Yes, so you can put enough together with his name is Doodle. That should tell you enough. He's a figure 8 racer from Kentucky, and something about Doodle, it doesn't matter if Doodle's leading, second, 8 laps down, or 100 laps down. He's shooting through that crossover. He's not stopping. It doesn't matter if you have a train of 25 cars and he's by himself. You better make a hole because Doodle's coming through.
Oh, so he's like Ross Chastain.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I mean it is insane the holes that Doodle's managed to put his car through because there'll be 20 cars coming, and there'll be 4 wide coming off the corner, and here comes Doodle straight through the middle. It is like within inches of, and you'll hear him touch, but like nobody will go spinning. Like hear the bumpers, like the quarter panels barely like make contact. So definitely going through the crossover with Doodle because he's not lifting. I am proud to say I'm one of the few people that Doodle has actually lifted for. So yeah, for all the
Nice.
seasonal people at home watching, definitely crossover with the good old Doodle there.
And then Tess asks, what is your favorite series to race in, and what is your favorite track to race?
Man, this is a tough one because I've ran so much stuff. As far as favorite car I've raced, I'd have to go with the school bus. As far as favorite series or track, I say running the dirt late model across like multiple series. Because there's quite, Daytona 180 miles an hour. Yeah, that's pretty fun and all. It's puckered up, maximum, and it's pretty fun. But going through a corner sideways at 125, 135, and the high banks of Florence or the bull rings of that Circle City Raceway, like it's always a blast no matter where you're at. And I was sideways at Daytona during qualifying because, like I said, someone blew a motor. I hit some oil and I'm over here dirt tracking a little bit. But it's just not quite as thrilling when you're sideways at Daytona trying to save it than at a dirt track.
Well, Brayton, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you on social media?
Yes, so I'm very active on social media. I tweet a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't, but you can find me on Twitter's a big one, at the One Pizza Man. If you couldn't tell, I like pizza. Instagram is at the one, only the Pizza Man. Once again, I like pizza. Facebook is just Brayton Laster Motorsports, and that's a lot of updates from the social media stuff to, hey, here's where we're racing this week. And that's where I'm probably, that and Twitter are I'm most active with weekly updates. Hey, we're racing this here. We're going here next week. Here's what we're doing in the shop. And I'm big on TikTok. That's at Brayton Laster. My name is, see my name, like right there. Right there. My name's right there. Just
Right there.
Just type in TikTok. And you should find an account with a lot of videos of. Today I posted one of a car that caught on fire. So a lot of neat, odd stuff you don't expect to see on there.
All right. This will probably be the last question, but of all the chain pizza places, which one is the best?
Good.
Oh no, I think he froze.
Oh,
You froze on us.
He's
I lost
here.
back. We're back. We're good.
Did you hear the question?
No, I didn't hear the
Oh,
question.
okay.
Rob, go ahead.
So,
Pepperoni, no pineapple, extra sauce. So,
but among all
Answer my
the
question.
chain pizza places, which one's the best?
it really depends where we're talking. I'm a good sucker for Papa John's or for Domino's or like Maz's, like a local chain around Indiana. I'm a broke college student, so I might be going like Little Caesars or like around my gas station.
I got you.
Okay, okay.
Slaps. Let me tell
I've
you.
never
does.
had Casey's Pizza, but I've heard
No, me
you talk
neither.
about it, and I've heard so many people talk about it.
I think
gotta
it's
try
one
it.
in Salem. I think there's two in Salem. We got work on that, Ben.
We got to
I
stop
had-
There you
sometime.
go.
I had Marco's when I was in Atlanta, and I was very impressed. But that's
Marco's
another
isn't
one
bad.
that we don't have up here. We just have Pizza Hut, Domino's, and we have Papa Gino's. It's like a New England thing.
Yeah, all pizza's good. I mean, it's hard to mess up pizza. You have good pizza and you got great pizza. Very rare to get bad pizza. So if
feel
it's,
like I know what
if
I'm gonna
it's
do for
pizza,
dinner
I'll
now.
eat it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
There is a Casey's in Salem,
Oh boy.
Oh, really?
Okay, Ben, I know where we're going.
Indiana, not Massachusetts.
Well,
Well, when we meet, Brayton, we'll have to go get pizza together.
oh,
Thank you
100%.
so much for joining us, and you're welcome back whenever.
Yeah,
Thank
find a
you
way
so
to come
much.
out to Mid Ohio. We'll find a way to
Yes,
meet up.
be at Mid Ohio.
Oh no, we're dying. We're back. Yes, I will try to arrange travel plans in Mid Ohio, but pretty
Or Nashville.
mid.
Perfect.
So, all right, thank you guys for having me on. It was a blast, and I will see you guys on next.
Thanks,
All
man.
right,
Appreciate
thank
you.
you. That was awesome. What is that?
Who is clanking?
That, my friends, is my radiator.
Oh,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that wakes me up at 3 a.m.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Very bizarre. Well, we
So
love
Rob's
having
haunted?
Brayton on. Yeah, so
No,
Rob's
it's not. No,
haunted.
it's not
No.
haunted. It's just old buildings in Boston.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's
That
a New England thing.
Landlords won't fix because they
We
say
love
they
it.
can't fix it. So
But they can't. They just don't know. But we loved having Brayton on. Obviously, we want him back sometime this season.
Yeah.
Definitely meet up with him. So we appreciate him joining us. Want to bring in another ATYL crew member because I want to talk to him about his weekend at Daytona. Dom Joseph, what is up? And welcome back.
Hello. Hello, how is everybody?
Hello. Doing
Check that
great.
hat.
I
Check the
apologize
hat.
for being late.
Let's go.
Atlanta traffic really ruined it for me today. So,
That's
but I'm
okay.
here.
Well,
Yeah,
tell
so
us about Daytona.
well, it was a bucket list item checked off. I went and watched the 500 in 2016 with my dad, and this was my first time working it. So it was an amazing experience. Those are all my pictures, all the scenes that I got to see, and wanted to share with everybody that follows Above the Yellow Line and Toby Christie. So, and I felt it was only fitting. I was originally going to go put our logo on the start finish line, but
Sorry.
I figured it was only fitting that we would write our name on the yellow line itself on the Daytona front straightaway.
That's so
So-
lovely.
Wanted to
That's
remind the
perfect.
drivers, stay above the yellow line.
And most of them did. Most.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did a good job. And then truck race was fun until the rain came. The Xfinity race was phenomenal. It was a great
Good.
show. The ARCA race was fun too. It was honestly a fantastic warm up to the Xfinity race. Almost like almost like one of the undercard fights for a main event prize fight. Something that you didn't come for, but you got to watch anyway, and you loved every second of it. So that's how I would document the ARCA race. And then, of course, the Daytona 500 was to be expected, the Great American Race.
It was really good this year. I thought it was solid.
Yeah,
I would say,
I
I
didn't
think
get to watch until like after stage 2. I was listening to it. But yeah. Sorry, Taylor.
No,
I
it
paused
was-
you
it was
there.
a-
Go ahead.
It was a great Daytona 500 because everyone was in contention for the entire race, and there were no massive crashes that immediately took out all the favorites. Before the overtime wreck, it was only that one wreck with Reddick, Jones, and Blaney and Elliott.
And that was
And-
very much that was That felt
was
like a late 2000.
500 wreck.
Yeah, I was gonna say that felt like probably in the exact same spot too, but it felt like a late 2000s Daytona wreck that just kind of probably
And
takes out something that's a contender. But
I'm so glad we got to see a race where there was actual strategy involved, and it wasn't about who you were working with on the racetrack. It was about how are we going to get through this stage? Like how are we going to maximize fuel mileage to get to this to the end of this stage? Because tires don't matter at Daytona.
Oh yeah.
No, that was a lot of fun. And then, I mean, I knew I was watching something great when with 35 laps to go, I can't take my eyes off the video board and I'm biting my fingernails because I'm just waiting for something to happen. And I just know, man, how do you guys do this?
Where were you posted up for the race?
So, first of all, let me just say that I took a picture of the front straightaway, and all of the front half of pit lane, the grass, and the front stretch were filled. It was a sea of people, that was great to see. But the amazing thing about that is, if you looked up in the grandstands, you would think that the grandstands were already filled. So my thought was like, where are these people going to go?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how many people were there. That was awesome. Because of that, pit road was very busy. So I crammed myself in a corner at pit road entry in Logano's box because the big video board was right behind it. I got a nice little, because that's where the opening was to the garage. So I got Taylor and you guys some pictures of wrecked cars literally pulling into the garage. And then obviously I had a good vantage point of a quick pass by for the cars as they went zooming by.
And plus, you were in the pit of a contender.
Yeah, so I wanted
to.
As soon as the race went yellow, I immediately took my phone. I started recording. My phone, ironically, I didn't tell you, Taylor, this, but when I finished all of my interviews on the top 5, my battery was at 2%.
Oh.
So I was holding on for whatever I had left. But because the caution came out and Joey and Ricky were side by side, I started recording his pit box because I was waiting to see if I was about to get the winning reaction. So, yeah, but I got his PR manager throwing his hat down in disappointment. So,
wow.
But I thought, man, I would have loved to have gotten the race winning reaction, but it's okay. Still a great finish.
That was awesome. I'm so glad you had a good time. Got us great content too. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, everything was fantastic.
I appreciate it. iPhone made it look pretty good. I got nothing to plug iPhone, but man, I was pretty proud of my work.
So it's Apple, man. Make money.
Yeah, I mean,
the money.
It makes me think, what do I need my Canon for?
Yeah, and also just because we were on the topic earlier, and because I am wearing my wonderful Busch Grand National hat, I did pick up at the flea market the first car to ever win a Busch race.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Really pretty.
Hold up.
A 1982 Daytona car for old Dale Earnhardt. So
nice.
Good for Dale.
Yeah. And by the way, miss everyone who thinks Earnhardt was Chevy or die. That's a Pontiac. So.
Just FYI. Well, we do want to talk a little bit about the race. I want to talk about specifically the overtime restart at the end. I know that there's varying opinions about how that should have gone, the one with RCR. Dom, at track, were you able to see that pretty well, the final the first overtime restart?
So I saw them take the choose, and as soon as they did that, I thought, okay, so Dylan's gonna hold up the inside and let Kyle take the bottom. I knew that's what they were gonna do. Did it surprise me? No. I get why people would say maybe you want both of them in the same line, or just let them both race for the win and control both lines, like they said in Dale Jr. Download. That's also a good idea, but that's another way for both of your guys to get junked. But, man, I won't lie, I was pulling for Kyle Busch to take that white flag on lap 199. Man, I was pulling for it. But I want to talk about fate and needing to have fate on your side in the Daytona 500. That's a perfect example of it.
And then, what did you guys think of the race overall? Like, rating it above or below the yellow line. Let's bring that into it. What would you rate this race scale of 0 to 100? We'll go kind of around in a circle, starting with Ben.
I'm always first.
I'll put you on the spot.
This was a perfectly, like they said on the teardown, this was a perfectly acceptable 500. This is like a 70 on my list, 70, 75. It had the 2000s vibes all over it, and I really love that. Stenhouse winning is a cool thing, and I'm really like seeing his media tour, especially over the past few days, has been really cool to see kind of like what he's done to celebrate it, and that's really nice. The things that he's done. Bummer for Busch, bummer for Keselowski. You got to start wondering, especially for Keselowski, like how many more chances they're going to have left at a 500. Brad specifically, but it was a good race. Wasn't the greatest Daytona 500 I've ever watched in my life, but wasn't the worst Daytona 500. It was a good race, enjoyable, good way to kick off the season. So 70%, 75, somewhere in that range.
Adam, what you thinking?
I'm right along the same lines as Ben on it. It was compelling all the way until the overtime. That right there, it made something that was shiny and special had just a little bit of dirt and dust on it, and a little bit of grime. So that brought it down from an 80 to probably about a 72 out of 100 for me. So still above the yellow line.
Dom, that at-track perspective, does it change things a little bit?
I mean, a little bit. Yeah, I have a little bias, but
it's a little bit.
You know, I wish I would have done my homework before this live stream. I wanted to look. Rob, you would probably know this quicker than any of us since you were following it a little closer. Did the 07 500 go to overtime, or was that a true 199 200 2 to go?
No, that went to overtime because if it hadn't, Mark Martin would have won.
Yeah, because there's a podcast where Mark Martin's like, I won the Daytona 500, not the Daytona 505, and I think about
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's my defense as to why overtime can be good for the Daytona 500, because that's the greatest Daytona 500 finish I've ever seen, probably ever will see.
I can't believe that was the first race I ever watched. I still can't believe.
Wow.
I cannot believe that was the first race I ever watched.
Wow,
a banger!
What an introduction! But I'm gonna go. I think 75 is good.
75.
I'd like to, just because I was there, give it an 80. I would probably put it at 80 just because I was there, and because it was such a great race. Like, it was a genuine race for the first 498 miles, but then it's just that's just how the Daytona 500 is now, because literally now everybody has a chance. So that's just the nature of the beast, which is a good thing. It's what you want. You want to know with 3 laps to go that 17th can still win this race. So, but no, I'd say 80.
Rob, same thoughts, different thoughts?
Similar. First of all, it was insanely competitive. I don't know how many different leaders there were. I don't know who led the most laps, but by watching the race, it was not clear.
Brad Keselowski led the most laps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, see, like I knew he was up front for a lot of the time, but I would have never thought that, off the top of my head, that he would have led the most laps.
Was there 52 different leaders?
52 lead changes in the race.
I hope there were 52 different leaders.
Oh, wait, no, that's what I meant. Sorry, 52 lead changes. My God.
52 lead. I think it was.
We knew what you meant. I just thought it was funny.
21 different leaders for 52 different lead changes, I believe, was the breakdown of the amount.
That's probably. I would imagine that's got to be up there, right?
Yeah.
2011 has to be the most.
2011 had a lot.
Yeah. I think I think they made that point on The Athletic this week. This is the most lead changes that they've had at the 500 since tandem racing was a thing.
Yeah. So finally, we've got 2 freight trains being pulled that forces that instead of just one on the top, one on the bottom.
Yes.
Which made it so exciting.
And that's what I'm saying. It was great, and they held on to those cars for 98% of the race. Even when it was coming down, like, I think if Suarez hadn't spun out, we probably would have had a green flag finish.
Yep.
So and then
he got pushed from behind though.
And then I posted on Twitter yesterday that the last green flag lap 200 finish to the 500 was 2017.
Mhm.
Yep.
So it hasn't been that long.
And that was fuel mileage.
That was
Yeah,
Kurt
so-
Busch's.
Yep,
Yeah,
that
it's
was-
Kurt
Yeah.
Busch.
That was, I kind of put that just to kind of defend, like, this doesn't always happen. Like,
Right.
It was fairly recently the last time it happened.
Yeah, it's. I have opinions about the overtime rule. The first thing I think is its sole purpose is to create a green flag finish, and it doesn't do that. We still end under caution.
Mhm.
It creates
So
carnage.
it's so these and that's the first thing I think of is I don't know how much money those teams lost in those last, beyond 500 miles. I don't know how much those teams lost, but I have to imagine it was an insane amount. And it's a shame to me because, and let me be clear that I still kind of side with y'all on, around 75% because I did like it. But I think the reason it gets so chaotic at the end, I think, again, takes the prestige out of it. So it's just like, oh, Ricky Stenhouse came through all the carnage and just ended up being first. Instead of, people forget the move that he and Kyle Larson pulled to put him in the lead.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that's what it should be remembered because that was an all-time move. Honestly, like I watched it again. I was like, that's picture perfect. That's a fantastic, move to win the Daytona 500. But because of the caution and the ensuing restart, everything gets re-racked and you forget about, like, I honestly, how many restarts were there beyond? Was it 2, 3?
It was two
Two.
overtimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
2
'Cause
overtimes.
and that's the thing is like they all get muddied up at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the first overtime restart was the big one.
And
After-
I
After 400 something miles of fairly clean racing.
exactly.
And to put a number to it, just Denny Hamlin had mentioned it a couple of times where we're kind of getting an actual like price for these cars.
Yeah.
$300,000 for a car. So
And I think I'm with you, Rob, here in saying, I think the overtime restarts almost cause panic, and especially at an event like the Daytona 500 where there's that prestige and everything like that. It's a race you want to win, so you're willing to do anything.
it's a huge
Not only
payday.
that, but playoffs.
And the playoffs and the payday behind it too. That's huge. So I'm with you all. When I rated the race earlier in the week, if you watched the ATYL episode, the rating's on there, but I gave it like a 75%. I thought it was pretty good. I think for me personally, I think it was the best Daytona 500 I've watched, just in terms of it. I felt like it was pretty clean, mature racing. They were side by side most of the race, which made it entertaining more so. But getting to our race picks too, Rob is making our graphics this year for our point standings. So we put this together somehow, some way. I picked Ryan Blaney to win, and he finished 8th after everything that happened to that guy.
What this doesn't show is that when we initially racked it up, I don't remember what went wrong, but I was the winner.
Adam looked at the wrong thing.
And I told Adam, I said, I feel like Brennan Poole right now.
Oh,
Oh, no.
you dyed your hair blonde?
Well, I said Brendan Poole, and I was really hoping one of you would be like, you mean Brennan Poole? And I would have said maybe if he won that Talladega race, maybe I'd remember his name.
Oh my God.
Doing my man dirty.
Don't
do it to him.
It's all the jokes. I like Brendan Poole. That was not any sort of like malintent. I just thought it was funny.
But you did finish in second place at Daytona this weekend, so you're not too far behind. Not that bad. I will say for me, like, this isn't going to last. I know Adam, poor Adam.
I thought me and you were going to be finishing dead last, and then somehow Blaney,
Blaney saved my
figured
life.
it out. Yeah,
Who did you pick? I don't even.
I had Tyler Reddick.
Oh, okay.
I was like second out of the race.
Yeah, let me remind everybody of our race picks that during Daytona. Now, I don't know if we need to explain how we do it, but basically we all get to pick somebody different. Nobody picks the same driver. Pretty entertaining that way. We had Dom picked Bubba Wallace. Rob picked Kevin Harvick. Ben picked Denny Hamlin. Brandon Lowe, who's not with us tonight, he picked Ryan Preece. And then Adam, Tyler Reddick, and then me, Ryan Blaney. So that's who we had.
Dom was gonna win.
Dom was.
If the caution hadn't came out and they would have raced it through, Dom was gonna win.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still was telling
Salts
myself, I was
wound.
saying to myself, if Kyle Busch would have gone to Hendrick, I would have picked him all day to win the
Oh, yeah.
500. But I just
Kyle
couldn't
did
get myself to
pretty
pick him. He
That's
did
I mean,
good.
Kyle
would've
did well
been
with a
hysterical.
backup car. Like he had
But,
a backup
yeah.
car.
Not to transition to Auto Club too quickly, but
Yeah,
they
but
haven't
no.
won there since 2011. So he's got a lot of work to do this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, and let's
RCR,
transition. Yeah, let's transition
Yep.
to Auto Club. We got our track facts
Actually-
and our driver stats.
I have
Hi.
one fun fact before we leave Daytona.
Go for it.
So I just looked this up on Racing Reference because I was looking up the lead changes thing. So in 2022, when Cindric won the 500, according to NASCAR Loop data, there were 6,462 green flag passes, which equates to about 39 passes a lap.
Wow.
2023, no,
crap.
it gets better. 2023 is 11,538, which equates to
So
66 passes a lap.
So
Almost
double.
double. That's,
Basically double.
God.
that's great.
But that's
So-
but see, that's what happens when everybody's clean for most of the race, and you still got
And
most
you know,
cars
you
on
know
the track.
what? This race reminded me of the closing laps of the 15 500, where they went a good 15 laps, 3 wide, 8 rows deep, and
Mhm.
never wrecked.
And yeah,
And
Oh my
that was
God.
just it was just, and it was so great because it got to the point where Logano was the only one that could get away from the 3 wide, and he was just going back and forth while the Hornets nest behind him was still 3 wide, a good 5 rows deep. It was wild, but they were clean. That's what made it so
Yeah.
awesome.
thinking
Mhm.
about like 2014 Talladega and like 2012 Talladega.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just where
Dang.
it just doesn't make sense how they're doing it. Just where that actually shows off the grace, the talent that they've got.
I'm excited for Talladega this year, honestly. Based on what we saw at Daytona, obviously, different tracks, but
Yeah.
still super speedway package. I think with this car is great.
I'm
I
excited.
did-
I also just before we leave Daytona, I just want to say, because I don't think I said this on stream last week, but my new bold prediction is that across the top 3 divisions, no super speedway race ends under green, and we are on track.
Except for Arca.
Except for Arca.
And we don't
which had
count
a
Arca.
great end to it, though.
We're not counting Arca.
It's
We're not
okay.
counting Arca.
I'll be
will
the
say-
bastard in
Because
the
if-
corner. It's okay.
Because if
I will say, Ben,
Ben, because if we were counting Arca, then I would count when the modifieds go to New Hampshire.
That's fair.
I will say, Ben, Tony Bredinger had the best looking race car.
She had
Her
Her
That
car
that car's
was
a banger.
awesome.
Her
Car was
car
nice.
looked really, really cool.
It's a banger.
Almost like the spilled paint on the sides. That looked
Mhm.
really,
Looks
really
so
That
sweet.
was
nice.
cool.
Unanimous
ran the-
decision was like it was the best car
Oh yeah.
for real. Well, we'll go to Auto Club. We'll wrap it up here. Do our track facts, driver stats, so you can get prepared going into the weekend. Got our stats off of driver averages, racingreference.com. So here we go. Obviously, track facts. Track length. Sorry, track length 2 miles, race length 200 laps, 400 miles. You got your stage lengths on there. So we're thinking about how many laps, some strategy there. Last driver to win at the track was Kyle Larson last year. Kyle Busch does have the most track wins.
He's got
Um,
3.
3.
Actually, no, he does have 4. He does have 4.
Yeah,
We forgot
I
about
was like,
that.
excuse me,
It's
sir.
for- in the fall race back in the
Wow.
day.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
Forgot about
he
that one.
also has the best average track finish. Hendrick Motorsports, according to my count, has 12 wins at the track. That's why I put a little asterisk on it because I have to count that myself. Same with the wins by manufacturer. Chevrolet has 16, Ford has 11, Toyota has 4. So there's those. So who are we thinking? Obviously, the stats tell a story, but they tell some history as well based on the current situation with the drivers where they're at. Who are we thinking has a good shot this weekend? Anyone want to just throw somebody out there?
Kyle
Truex.
Larson.
Oh, Truex and Kyle Larson. All right.
Reddick.
All right. Reddick. Okay. Everyone defend your stance.
I think I'm just kind of riding off what I saw at the Clash, and it's if that was lovely, Ben. Anyway, gonna pretend like I didn't just see that.
Yeah, just
No, I think it's just if they have found something, and I was very impressed by their super speedway speed
yeah.
and how they
Mhm.
were able to get up there and actually, as much as I wanted to say, well, that's just Denny Hamlin showing that he is really good at super speedway. But then Christopher Bell got up there, Bubba Wallace got up there, so I was like, okay, Toyota's got genuine speed. That's good.
Mhm.
But no, I'm on board the Truex train that he's got it turned around, and when he won in 2018, that kind of convinced me that he knows what he's doing on these super speedways. Hasn't won in Michigan yet, but I mean, Auto Club is a completely different beast.
Mhm.
So, and while I'm on the topic, don't change Auto Club. If anything, just repave it.
Please.
Don't get rid of that racetrack because it's just so great.
With this car, it's nice.
So great.
If they reconfigure it, it's going to look like the Clash.
No, it's going to be a half mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either
Coliseum's
then
a
it-
quarter mile. So
then it's going to look like Martinsville or Bristol, and people
Yeah.
are just going to be running over each other, and I don't find that entertaining.
Yeah.
I'm being honest.
it's like this isn't what we mean by go back to the short tracks. It's like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like we mean go back to the
no,
Wilkesboro.
Let's go back to other tracks.
Go back
Go
to
back to
green.
established short tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not have the,
Wilkesboro, go to,
South Boston.
Rockingham isn't really a short
Yeah,
track. but-
Rockingham.
could you imagine the clash of Bowman Gray?
Oh,
I mean, that's basically what we have just on the West Coast.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Bowman Gray's a lot more narrow.
This is very true as well.
There ain't no room to pass there.
There is never you get moved to move.
Chastaining might be your only way to pass on that
Oh
track.
yeah.
Don't give anybody any
Well,
ideas.
you don't want to do that because there are
Because
openings in
penalty-
that track. No, there are openings.
Turn
yeah.
3 pit wall. Turn 3 pit wall.
$100 guardrails.
If you want to chastain it, you're going to end up in the pits.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's just I
Yikes.
think there's one race that sticks out to me, and it is that 2011 race where Harvick came out of nowhere
Nope.
and just
Yeah.
had 500 more horsepower than Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson combined
Yeah.
in those final
Mhm.
laps, and it's just like that's
Yeah, it was
only
wild.
because you could only do that at Auto Club
Mhm.
because that was the best part because they all had their own lanes. The top three were all in a different lane,
Mhm.
so that was the best part. It's just they were all
Heck,
finding
Harvick-
what was working for them.
Harvick was running below the white line, I think.
No, Harvick was
Yeah.
running
Probably
up against
at
the
one
wall.
Someone
Harvick
was
was
running
the
below
last
the
lap he
white.
was.
It was like
Jimmy
all the
Johnson.
way up there. Yeah, it was Jimmy.
Jimmy
There we
Johnson
go.
was on the apron.
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Well, think about
golden
like
shoe
2014,
race.
Larson flying through there,
Yeah,
and almost beat Kyle Busch.
right,
Almost got his first career win in the Nationwide and Cup Series in the same day
right.
Mhm.
or the
True.
same weekend.
Yeah, and then that nationwide race, he beat Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick for the win.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, but again, that's just the product of that racetrack.
Yeah, it's a banger.
I do want to ask, like, how many wins do we think Truex will get this year?
3.
Oh, that's way too early to
Just
tell.
give me one at this point. I talked about it, so as a Truex fan, like I feel like this is it for him unless something happens. But
Yeah.
just give me 1 points win, give me a decent playoff run, and I can go home happy. That's all I ask at this point. So
As a Truex fan, please. Essentially.
Please,
just
yeah.
just please.
just give. It's like
That was
Mark
well
Martin
said.
09. It's like give me one win and
Oh.
I'll
Oh yeah,
be
and
okay.
then
And then he won
Oh,
almost a
win.
championship.
Yeah.
I will say another driver that I feel like people aren't looking at enough when it comes to Auto Club. Now,
Sarah.
I didn't put him in my list, but I think it's are you whispering? What's going on?
Taylor?
I'm whispering a name, but I want to hear.
Are you saying
what
Eric
you're gonna
Jones?
say. I am. maybe.
No, I was gonna say
No?
Austin Dillon.
That was the second
You know,
name.
he did win pole position there in what 17.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he finished second. He finished second there last year, so we know
Yeah.
he knows how to compete there in the
Won-
next gen car. He's
won the
won
Xfinity race in
He's won an
2016.
Xfinity race. He had to have two guys. Or he had to have one guy run out of fuel and one guy
You have a flat tire.
run around on 3
Mhm.
tires
Yep.
to do it. But I mean, he was in position in third. So, and I know the track isn't exactly similar, but he's always been really good at Michigan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has.
It's the same shape. It's not obviously it's a completely
Different animal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I
And
was
I look
gonna
at
say
Eric
Eric
Jones.
Jones.
Yeah. Just because, super speedway racer graded that. Obviously, Auto Club's not super speedway.
It will
Technically,
be
he
interesting.
I mean, he
to
killed it
see.
last year.
Yeah,
We're
but
gonna
he
see-
killed it last year. Top 10.
After Daytona, I'd like to see what kind of speed they actually have.
yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
we're gonna see what type of Legacy actually has this year,
Yeah.
especially like from its 2 full-time teams
And I think
because
it was Ben that said this, but I'm like you, love the all black ABC pillars.
Yes.
It's cute, man. It's good
That's
stuff.
different.
Like they
it's
do good.
different. Yeah, but and
It's
then Xfinity, Cole Custer's the defending winner there. Now he's full-time, so it'll actually mean something. He's going for his third win there, and there's only 3 full-time Cup regulars in the field for that race.
Who's in it?
including
So it
Austin
is-
Dillon.
Reddick.
It is including Austin
Jeez.
Dillon, Reddick, and Chastain.
Chastain, yeah. Or no,
Yeah.
Okay.
Chastain. He pulled him out.
So they
It's
pulled
t-
him.
It's TBA on the entry list, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
Ooh.
The
me
last
double-check
I
that.
checked the entry list a few hours ago, and he was still on there. So
I
if
thought I
if
saw it
he
somewhere. Let me
withdraws,
double-check.
it would only be Reddick and Dillon.
Okay.
It'll
Oh,
be
yeah, Reddick-
interesting to see what kind of competition they bring.
On a side note, isn't Reddick going to have a new scheme this weekend, or what is it?
Yes, it'll be
Yeah.
the
Monsters.
or is that for
It's
Vegas?
Oh, it's this weekend.
it's the monster scheme. It's just the monster scheme. It just has
Yeah.
something different.
You
on
did the monster mash.
Oh,
Wow. Is it October already? What?
It's
I
Halloween
wish.
in my heart.
It's always Halloween.
Right. Yeah,
Halloween game.
The Daytona 500's over. At this point, we're all just.
I mean,
counting down to the playoffs.
HIFBIS
Oh,
is
yeah.
We're all just waiting
HIFBIS is
for
a thing. I
Phoenix.
don't know if it's a thing where you guys are, but HIFBIS was always a thing in college for me. Do you guys know what HIFBIS is?
Mm-mm.
What?
Okay, so HIFBIS stands for Halloween in February because I said so. And so in college we used to throw HIFBIS parties.
Y'all had
we'd
a
all-
weird
So we'd all
college.
dress up in we're theater kids. What do you expect?
Yeah,
Oh, man. It's them there Yankee fellers. That's what it is. No good right New Englanders.
You sound like something out of Maine Justice.
We love
Yeah,
love
that's an
Jumper
sketch.
Up. Yes, you're
Same
hard.
justice.
I
Sick him with the Gators.
charge you for being guilty of being
Okay, well,
a fast talking
it's-
Yankee.
I take that
It's
back
not
on
just on us,
Chastain.
Chastain.
I take that back. The tweet that originally I had seen is now missing, so
Okay.
I take
Oh.
that back. So he
So
may be.
Chastain-
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
He may or may not race.
Who is he driving for?
A DGM, the 91
DGM.
car.
Okay,
Mario
I have
Goslin's
idea
team.
who he's driving. Oh, okay.
Then
Did you
again,
know we're
no
15
one
racing?
might be driving on Saturday though at Auto Club. The weather's not looking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we might.
Yeah.
I think before we started the live stream, we said we might see like a back-to-back race.
We're hitting late 2000s Auto Club. We're throwing it back. We're
Yeah.
throwing it back to where it rained every race.
Oh
God,
Because
boy,
rain.
Daytona Auto Club always has crummy weather.
for real. Oh my gosh. Well, we will have to see what
Yeah.
it brings this weekend. Keep updated with us on our social media pages. I'll pull them up on the screen. All of the guys' social media pages are also in the description below and also mostly on their name tags here. But you can find me if there's a QR code in the corner of this video that you're watching right now. So make sure to scan that to get all of our links and how to support us. But that is what we have up there. And then also ATYL, we're back with our regular episodes happening every Monday and or Tuesday. We're on all podcasting platforms that you listen to. So if you can't watch, you can listen. Also, be sure to keep up with our creative content on my personal YouTube page that is just above the yellow line. I need to start getting in on this, like having things in the camera. You know what? We're going to do it. We're going to do it. All right. And then also, yeah, we're sponsored by FilterTime. We freaking love FilterTime. Promo code Toby15 for your first 15% off for 15% off your first order. I'm doing great, you guys. But make sure to check them out at FilterTime. We appreciate their support for TobyChristie.com and above the yellow line. But that is it from us here. Make sure to scan that QR code when you can. We appreciate y'all. We love you all. And we will see you next week.